questions just from my, I'm enrolled in my practicum course. So I'm doing all of the field experiences and such. So I just have some questions laid out already. If you could go ahead and tell me what your name is and what your position is.
Okay. Okay. No worries. Yes, I am Kim Bennett, and I am an instructional technology specialist in Cherokee County for the school district. And I work in a department. You want me to go ahead and give you the description of my department, or you have that coming, or?
So I'll talk about kind of like the hierarchy of the
Okay.
positions. Yeah,
Okay.
that I have a question related to that in a
Okay.
little bit. So what type of degree is required for your position? I know in Cobb County they don't necessarily require. Of course, it's probably definitely preferred that you have an instructional technology degree. But is it required for your position in Cherokee
It
County?
is not. No.
Okay.
I think you have to, for my position in Cherokee, you have to be a certified teacher and you
Mhm.
have to have an active teaching certificate. And that was the only requirement. Most people in my department do have additional certifications and additional degrees, but it's not required.
Okay. I feel like those positions are kind of leaning that way as we move more into
Yeah.
the future. I know when I talked to a specialist in my district, she said that, you know, when she came in, it was a little more of like testing the waters out, creating our learning management system and things like that. She didn't really know what she was getting herself into.
I think that is so accurate
Uh-huh.
because you really do not know exactly what you're going to be doing. I agree
Oh.
completely.
Well, that leads me into my next question. What are your typical day-to-day job responsibilities?
I am responsible for supporting the teachers and the students at 5 schools. This looks like we do every month, we create a monthly technology workshop
Mhm.
that is pushed out primarily online. I have 2 of my schools that I actually do an in person workshop for. The other 3 schools have decided to let their teachers complete it at their time, whatever's convenient for them in an online type platform. So we give our schools and our principals, even our teachers, the choice. I have some schools that their principal may have said, we want you to take the training online, but they still may reach out to me and say, hey, can you come in and
Mhm.
do the training during my planning? Sometimes I'll do it with grade levels once a month, but primarily my week is I am at a different school every day. I don't have an
Okay.
office. Like we don't have a desk. This is my desk. So right now I am in a technology closet. So
Okay.
um
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I'm not usually in here, but this was a nice quiet place to come.
Mhm.
So I think in our district, it's important they want us in the schools, which is why we don't have an office
Okay.
in any place. So every day we're in a school. Each month, I am required and scheduled 2 days at every one of my schools. So
Okay.
that's the minimum is 2 days a month. Now that does leave me with a couple of extra days each month. So what is that, 10 days? And so that leaves me with probably 10 more days on average that I can
Mhm.
work on special projects or work in the classrooms with teachers. We also have twice a month, we meet as a department for our professional learning opportunities. So it
Mhm.
kind of gives us a little flexibility to work on special projects and to help teachers in whatever needs they may have.
Okay. Very cool. So leading into that too, how do you feel like you're meeting the needs of faculty and staff specifically in high school? How does that look a little bit different in high school when you're meeting those needs for technology?
Yes, high school is a very busy place. So the speed of which things occur, they're
Mhm.
really like a little mini city to me because they are so large.
Mhm.
I think the most important thing is being present and
Mhm.
being there and walking around the halls and checking on people personally. The schedules are crazy in a high school, and the teachers sometimes they are real true experts in their field, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. Like they are scientists or they are mathematicians and they are
True.
very honed in on their trade. And I find that a lot of times they are a little bit more up to date on particular technologies in their field. I feel like the elementary schools and my middle schools are kind of like, I teach everything and, got a little bit of a handle on this and a little bit of this. I think by the time they get to high school, some of those high school teachers, I think, collaborate with other teachers in the area and really are able to focus in on some unique tools
Okay.
for their specific content area.
That's awesome. I know, like, I guess discovery ed, that would be something
Yeah.
that might be a little more science based, and that
Yes.
makes total sense. Whereas, in elementary school, I feel like that's where most of my experience is, and we do a lot of how to with technology because the kids don't know how to
Yes.
use technology in the way that high schoolers do.
Absolutely. What we have in our counties, we have a program called Microsoft Kids.
Mhm.
And it is a program, and all of my elementary schools last year, we got the whole school certified. So every single student, so it ended up being about 1,500 students just in my little territory that were certified. And that's the aim of it. So we have a checkoff list and we go in and we teach the kids. So every kid has to, and every grade level is a little bit different, the requirements. But for example, like in third grade, they, have to have used their OneDrive, have to have used Microsoft Word,
Mhm.
Microsoft PowerPoint, Sway, a Flip, and we have a checkoff list, and that is our intentions. Now, some teachers are proficient enough and they teach it themselves. And we have a
Mhm.
lot of teachers that I book up every month, like, okay, this month we're doing this, and next month we're doing this. And I go in and give that extra support, especially for those littles who really don't have any foundation or background. So I find that in high school, I do less teaching of students.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Because they have those basic skills. I've done some really fun workshops with high school students though, because they are, they're brilliant. They are amazing to me. And some of them have reached out like, I want to do when Canva was new. I
Mhm.
had one class that I just kind of kept seeing because I was in there working stuff. They're like, can you show us some things? And I'll go in and show them some things. And I have a couple of AP classes that I work with a couple times a year that have certain projects that they're working on, and we kind of brainstorm and I provide extra support. But you're right, the kids primarily have a much higher skill level in the high school area.
Correct. And it's so funny that you say that too, because that's something I've been talking about with my TTIS for my school. I did a needs assessment with them and tried to pick something to do a professional development on. And they figured out that the need was that we needed to be using Microsoft products more in an instructional way than just a
Yes.
way that kind of, dictates our day-to-day stuff like the email, basically teaching kids how to use it in a creative and collaborative way. So I'm doing my professional development on using OneNote as a class notebook in Teams.
Oh, I absolutely am a huge OneNote fan.
Yay, I am too.
Absolutely.
This is the
Yes.
first year I've used it actually, and just for myself and my plans and stuff, and I am a huge fan of it.
It is fantastic. I solely used it for all my plans probably about 10 years ago. And
Mhm.
that is what I mean, I lived by it. Then we embraced Canvas. Do you have a learning
Mhm.
management system?
So ours is CTLS, Cobb Teaching and Learning
Oh,
System.
yes.
It existed beforehand, but it was kind of in an emergency during, 2019, 2020. They started gearing it towards it being an LMS.
Okay. Well, ours, when we started and we piloted Canvas, and I piloted it for our district probably about 6 years ago.
Mhm.
They sold us on, oh, you're not going to need your OneDrive or your OneNote anymore. Your OneNote, this is going to do everything. And of course, I am a believer and I am naive and I'm a sucker and I'm a team player. And I'm like, of course, we're going to do this. So I moved everything into Canvas and I have not
Mhm.
been as happy. I'll tell you that. I'll tell everybody that, but I'm not. I'm like, it's very different type of platform.
It's crazy because as I get more into Teams and like I created a model class on there, Teams itself could literally be the learning management system. And having OneNote embedded in there as a notebook, it has assignments. We're even doing RTI for some kids, doing words per minute count. They can actually record themselves reading. I do
Yes.
love to read with kids one-on-one, but yeah, Teams could be a learning management
Yes.
system.
Are you using the new reading progress?
Um, I
Is that what you're
don't.
doing, the reading? Oh, you need to look into that.
Okay.
It is in
Reading progress
Teams,
Teams.
and it
Okay.
is called Reading Progress. It is
Mhm.
fantastic. For you as your job, it will give you a report and an analysis of a student's reading. So
Yeah,
it will tell you how many times they mispronounced something, if they had omissions or insertions in their reading.
that is what
It
I'm
is
using. I just didn't
is that what you're
recognize it.
using? Okay.
Yes,
I
it
figured
is.
it should be. I'm like, it is. If you're not, you should be, because it is
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's wonderful. I love it. All right. So I think you kind of touched on this in the last question when you were talking about piloting Canvas. But other than that, have you had any opportunities to impact technology implementation throughout in your high school?
Yes, I'm in the process of offering professional development and training on GoGuardian
Okay.
currently. Do you use GoGuardian?
We do not, but I've heard of it and I really wish that we had it because, that's every teacher's dream is to be able to see
Yes.
exactly what's going on the screen.
Yes. So that is one of our initiatives this year. So
Mhm.
um, we got access to it as a county last year. And so we did some introduction and some teachers jumped on board. Of course, it is an optional tool in our county. Most of our tools are optional. Very rarely do we mandate, except for like Canvas, you have to use this,
Mhm.
but other than that, so I'm in the process of doing some rollouts and some professional development in implementing that Go Guarding across the school. We're in the process about to go 1-to-1 at my high school. So we want to have that training in place before the students go 1-to-1. We're still waiting on a date, so that's why we're like, okay, we're supposed to start the training last week, and I'm like, let's put it off another week because I want the training and my professional development to closely align with the implementation of 1-to-1 so
Mhm.
they can utilize it right away. So we're in the process of rolling that out right now.
I think that's amazing. I love that. All right. So earlier on, we were talking about kind of like the hierarchy of your technology in your district. So do you have any committees that are under you? How does that work in your district as far as technology goes?
Our district is set up where I'm actually part of technology.
Mhm.
Some districts have them actually set up as part of curriculum
Mhm.
or part of operations. Our district is part of technology. We kind of view that we are kind of the bridge between understanding what the teachers need in the classroom, because we are all teachers, and bridging it with our technology people who are not teachers, who just say, hey, this is the best tool and this is how it is. So we kind of bridge and say, okay, that is a cool feature, but the teachers don't need that. They
Mhm.
need it to be able to say this or to do that. So that's kind of where it is. Oh, that's no worries. Um, so we have that ability. So that's why we're in technology instead. And we kind of bridge and put on our teacher hat to tell the technology developers and software developers and our network people what it is that the teachers need. So I'm in a department of 7, and we are all divided up across the school. So we have our boss, but we also, of course, support the principals of all the schools we're in. So we're kind of in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It sounds a lot like Cobb. I feel like Cobb and Cherokee always they mirror each other a lot. So
Absolutely.
I know my TTS said it as in it sounds like you are scheduled a little bit differently than her. She's more of like an as needs basis, so you schedule her. It sounds like you are at 2 schools per month. You said you had to be at a certain
5.
school 2 times.
Yes. Yes. We schedule our days like we are like, you're on the first and third Thursday of the month. And we
Hmm.
kind of schedule them so that we know at least we're there then, or that's our goal. Things change, and we do have some flexibility, and we do have those optional dates where it is an as need. Like I had someone call me today and said, hey, I need you to be here on Friday for this, and they were able to make it work. So we do have some flexibility to do an as need basis too.
Perfect. So I just have 2 questions left
Okay.
for you. What do you find to be the most challenging part of your job when it comes to high school? How is it difficult getting the technology in, getting the professional developments in high school?
I think that high school teacher mentality is just a little bit different.
Mhm.
Seeing all areas, I think they sometimes have a much more of a stronger personality.
Mhm.
And they also have a lot of confidence in their expertise and their knowledge. Does that make sense? So sometimes
Yeah.
they don't feel like they need assistance or
Mhm.
help because they are the masters of their classroom and they really have that kind of persona. And they're usually very strong willed. So sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to form relationships.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's all the high schools, but that's my high schools because I feel like they're also very busy. Do you know what
Right.
I mean? And
I completely understand. And, being a technology specialist, whatever your educational background is, maybe like for me, it would be hard for me to train a chemistry teacher because I didn't do well in chemistry, to be honest. So,
even as a student, no, that's true. I tell them all the time, I know nothing about your content.
mhm,
Absolutely not. But yeah, that is a great point that sometimes
mhm,
it it does cause an additional barrier.
mhm.
The comfort level that I have with the high school content is a lot isn't the same comfort level I have with an elementary content
Right.
or a middle school content because they don't go quite as deep. So it does provide an additional barrier.
Okay. And then my last question, it's my favorite question. What do you feel is like the most exciting piece of technology out there right now, whatever, you're working on? What is the most beneficial technology that you are working on right now?
Right now, I'm all about AI.
Okay. Yep, I've
Yes.
been hearing a lot about it and doing some assignments on it as well.
And I think it is just because it is new and
hmm
it is the new thing. And so there's new changes every day. Just today, I don't know if you're a Canva person,
hmm
but Canva released a lot of new additional features just today. I was in a meeting
Right.
today talking about it. So right now it's AI for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
love Canva. I actually do like a little bit on the side. I'll design stuff for like t-shirts and stuff and sell on Etsy. So I have seen some AI features loaded into Canva recently, and I do love it.
You need to look at them. Today they came out with like let's say if I forget the technical name, but let's say this is a picture of me in this
Mhm,
background. You can, and this is one picture that let's say you uploaded, it will identify me and it
mhm,
will turn it into two pictures. And it will let you move me over here if you needed to or shrink me down, it make it into two complete pictures, which I thought was cool. Another new feature that they just put out was if you have, let's say I have a picture that has words in it,
mhm.
but it's a picture, you can't edit those. Like if you ever try to, you have to put something on top of it. Well, it can let you edit it. So you can
Yeah,
click on it. It can identify that that is a place where words or text is, and you can change the text, which I
that's
thought was fantastic too. Like, think of it like
mhm,
for a street sign or something like, you had some kind of cool picture, but you wanted it for the purpose of this training to say, have Canva instead of
mhm.
like Rose Street, you could really easily change it. It's
That's
very cool
amazing.
stuff.
I love it. I love it. But that also opens up a huge door for plagiarism too. So I think that's a lot of things that we've been talking about, like in my courses as well. It's very exciting, but how do we
Yes.
teach students to use it correctly?
That is the big barrier. Right now, I know in our district, we're focusing on teaching the teachers.
Mhm.
So we want the teachers to be comfortable with it and we want them to be knowledgeable and maybe not introduce it to students yet. We're like, that can be gradual. You need to be aware and knowledgeable that it's there,
Mhm.
but let's not open the can of worms until you're comfortable with it. So that's kind of the approach we're taking because it is,
Yeah.
but boy, to get it to like write a parent email, have you used it for that?
I haven't. I actually I've used some of the Canva features. I downloaded an app. I think that you could kind of just like ask it, like, I think I was trying to find a good tool to translate. This is the first year I've ever had non-speakers in my class. And I was looking for the best tool to translate, but that would come up on their one-to-one device as I'm like instructing. And I reached out to AI to try to get some tips.
What did you find for that?
So I feel like it mentioned like Google Translate and there's
Yes.
Microsoft, and I still need to mess with it a little bit more to find the most effective way to use it. But yeah, those are two
Now,
that were
in the
mentioned.
classrooms, what we're using often is like, let's say I have a classroom of 5 students and maybe 2 of them are non-English speakers. In PowerPoint, if you ever use PowerPoint, when you
Mhm.
present, you can, it's called subtitles. I don't know why it's called subtitles, but when you present your slideshow, you can have it translate what I am saying at that
Mhm.
instance. Do you know what I mean? So as I'm talking, they can look on the screen and it's in Spanish.
Okay.
And that is a fantastic tool that we're using often for that for sure, because that's something that we have here too. Of course, it's more so in the higher grades once students are able to read that they
Mhm.
could actually read in Spanish what the instructor is saying. But yes, so I think I went completely off task, but AI for sure. Now, my high school has gone crazy with AI. Now, they
Mhm.
have embraced AI much more than my middle school or my elementary school at all. They are all over it.
The teachers have to be on top of it in high school because those high schoolers are going to figure out how to use it quickly. And I think it's important to be knowledgeable about it, because as a teacher, you always want to have the upper hand, right? You want to know what they're doing before they're doing it. So,
Yes, absolutely. But that's my new favorite tool. And my high schools are embracing it for
all
sure.
right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.